Hi, welcome to Philly Jazz Talks About. And tonight we're going to be talking about jazz photography. I'm Suzanne Cloud, Project Director of the Philadelphia Jazz Legacy Project. And this evening we're going to be talking with three of Philadelphia's best jazz photographers. And they'll be discussing their photographs and telling stories about how they took these fabulous images of Philadelphia jazz artists. But before we do that, it's important that you know that these jazz talks are brought to you by the Philadelphia Jazz Legacy Project. We're an organization whose mission is to establish a permanent jazz archive for Philadelphia at the Blockson Collection at Temple University. The permanent jazz archive will be something that will feature all of our jazz artists in the larger metro area and the community at large through recordings, video interviews, manuscripts, and material culture like photographs, programs, posters, anything that relates to Philly jazz and its history. We've already started the archive. It's about 2 years old, and we're constantly working on it. I'd also like to thank the Philadelphia Jazz Cultural Fund for partially sponsoring these talks. Without their help, these programs would not be possible. And I also want to thank the people who support us with their donations and to the attendees who have supported us throughout the series to see us discuss topics near and dear to our hearts. We appreciate it so very much. To get a reminder of our events and other Philly Jazz Legacy work, please go to our website at phillyjazzhistory.org and sign up for our monthly newsletter. I'd also like to mention that we are fiscally sponsored by the Painted Bride Art Center now. We were with Ars Nova, but we have since changed over to the nonprofit Painted Bride. So just so you know. Now, to introduce tonight's guests. First, Bruce Turner. Bruce was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and he's been involved in the photographic arts for over 40 years. Turner studied at De Anza College in Cupertino, California, and the San Francisco Art Institute. And his vast experience encompasses commercial photography, including architecture, fashion, and portraiture. Bruce Turner's passion for photography can be seen in his nature images and his jazz moments images, as he calls them. He is currently the photographer for Temple University Library's Charles L. Blockson African American Collection, and many of his images have been published in various news outlets, magazines, and most recently in the book Images of America, Philadelphia Jazz, which was just published this past October. And it was written by Diane Turner, who's the curator at the Blockson, and myself. Next photographer is Anthony Dean. Anthony Dean has been taking photographs for over 20 years, and he started taking jazz seriously about 15 years ago. So I guess that means he screwed around for the first 5. Anyway, he has a background in film and the wet darkroom, which you'll have to explain to us because I don't know what that means. Shooting film made Anthony slow down to get the image he was searching for. With film, you only get 36 exposures, so you try to get it right in the camera. After going digital, Anthony was able to experiment more with his images and to take more risks with his camera. The love of jazz is what is suggested to the viewer. It's like taking a walk through the park with some music on. If the music is soothing, you'll most likely have a nice stroll. If the music is up-tempo or aggressive, chances are that you'll have a whole different experience. Those are the feelings that he wants to bring out in the minds of the viewer. The feeling of hearing the music even though you didn't attend the show. Anthony has had several exhibitions of his work over the years. He also has a book published of his images, and it was published in 2012 called Seeing the Music, The Jazz Photography of Anthony Dean, which is a mix of color and black and white photographs. And thank you for being here, both Bruce and Anthony. Last on the bill here, but not last but not least, or least but not last, I forget how that goes, is L. David Hinton. We call him Les or Lester. He started out as an assistant carrying equipment and holding lights, and then started playing sax under the mentorship of Odine Pope. But the call of photography kept buzzing in his ear, and it was difficult to manage both art forms at once, so his heart ended up with photography. He started out shooting weddings under the mentorship of a local photographer by the name of Jack Bridges, and then joined a photography group by the name of the Photo Posse, a core group of Black photographers under the leadership of Brother Errol, covering events in the city until he got his press pass. Les started shooting the music around 1996 at Ortlieb's, which was a famous jazz drinking spot and music spot in the city. That's where Les met Mike Boone, Sid Simmons, Mickey Roker, Byron Landon, Tim Warfield, and the list goes on. He's currently a photography contractor with Temple University, Ars Nova Workshop, the Coltrane Symposium, the Producers Guild, Jazz Bridge, Clef Club, Jazz Philadelphia, and the magazine Root Quarterly. So, welcome to all of you. Let's go. You can say hello. All right. Bruce, let's bring up. I'm so glad you guys could make this. This is fabulous. I've known most of you for many years. Bruce and I have just gotten friendly since we've done a couple of these things together. So, Bruce, I'm gonna talk to you first, and Lex is our techie behind the scenes. We're going to bring up some of Bruce's glorious photographs. All right. Go ahead, Bruce. We know who this is, a very young Monette Sudler.
This is one of my favorite photographs, and I, not too long before this, gotten back from California, and it was, I forget where it was, to tell you the truth, but it was with Grover Washington. She was with Grover, and they were jamming together, have a jam session, and then she just came on and started singing. And it was just, with the lighting, and it was just an intriguing moment for me. So over the years, I've photographed Monette probably hundreds of times, and this was always both of our favorite picture for some reason. I mean, she's used my pictures in a variety of ways, but we always came back to this one. So this is taken in the mid 80s, I would imagine, somewhere around there, mid to late 80s.
Yeah, she looks like she's in her 20s here.
Yeah, she was young. She was pretty young. I don't remember. The story behind this is that one of her cuts is called The Other Side of Gemini. And,
oh yeah.
She was a Gemini. She was born on June 5th, 1952. And I was born June 4th, 1952. So we struck a bond as soon as we met, talking about that. And we just held a friendship over the years, until recently, her, passing. One of the things I must say about all the pictures I'm going to discuss, they're all my friends. It was hard for me to you asked me to select 3 or 4 pictures out of, I turned 50,000 over to the blocks, and for me, this 3 or 4 pictures is really nebulous and tedious.
Right.
But I just said, well, I don't halfway remember when it was, the actual date, the setting of the camera and all that old stuff. I really don't document that stuff too much at that point in my career. So I don't have that information really. I could probably surmise it. But in terms of the moment, my whole perspective about pictures is akin to what Miles said about as soon as he plays the note, it's old. So as soon as I take the picture, I'm looking for the next shot to take. I'm not really focusing on, and especially now with digital, when before you used to bracket, which means take 1, 2, or 3 pictures of the same image, basically. So your exposure, and you have latitude. Well, now you can, with digital, you don't even need that. You can just delete it and go on about your business. So it takes a little bit of the aesthetics out of it for me. But this is one of my favorite images, whether it be musicians or anything else. To tell you the truth,
Oh,
captures a moment.
yeah, it's gorgeous. I mean, it's just perfectly centered, and I just and all the shadows and the highlights are just really like along the back of her guitar there. I mean, I just love it.
And
Um,
she was such a beautiful person.
yeah,
That's kind of this kind of capsulizes it for this capsulizes her for me. It's just that's what I feel for her.
and I should mention to people that Monet just passed recently too, which struck us all as many of us as a big surprise. So we're going to miss her. I do miss her.
Yeah.
All right, let's see the second photo there. Oh,
Ooh, come on now. You know something? I have no idea where this was.
I think I know where it was. Was this at Annenberg by any chance?
They weren't playing. They were
Because I
being.
remember seeing these three just hanging out together at Annenberg when I was there for something else with somebody else,
It
and I
very
was
well might
just
have been.
uh,
But these, again, they're all friends of mine. I mean, my goodness, I could tell stories about all three of these young ladies forever. In the middle, in case people don't know, is
right.
cousin Mary. Cousin Mary, is John Coltrane's cousin. Cousin Mary, and 33rd Street. And all that old kind of stuff. And then on the right is, come on now. Well, let's go with Shirley. On the right is Shirley. What am I talking about? On the right is Shirley. On the left, come on, is Mr. C and Trudy.
Judy.
Trudy Pitts, Mr. C. Trudy Pitts, cousin Mary, Shirley Scott. All legendary figures, all beautiful people. Gosh, I mean, I don't know what to say. You have to ask me some questions, Suzanne.
Now Kim Tucker is in the chat, and she said it was at the Annenberg Center.
Thank you, Kim, because I don't know. Kim, thank you very much.
Now, you know who I really get a kick out of in this picture? And this is in the book too that we just published, is that guy in the back in the glasses, the white guy in the back.
Yeah.
And he's just looking on at these three women laughing and smiling, and he's smiling too. It's contagious. I just think he just happens to stand there, and it looks, it just sets it off. It makes it a much different picture.
Yeah, yeah. And they were talking big trash too. They were.
I know.
If you know them, you know. I love these three. I remember with cousin Mary and her little dog. I don't know the dog's name, but my goodness, she loved that little dog.
I know. It was a little Cocker Spaniel that she had in the house. Yeah. I remember I used to take my students over to the Coltrane house to meet her, and she would talk about John, and the dog was always just the students went crazy over. It was a little Cocker Spaniel, I think, wasn't it?
It was just a little dog that she loved, and between, and I basically saw the dog get old, and I saw Ravi grow up over there, because he would be coming over, all the time, and the last time I saw him, he was a grown man. Gosh.
Well, this is a precious picture. I'm surprised that Eloise wasn't there with them, because she used to pal around with all those ladies. Eloise is the wife of Philly Joe Jones.
Yep.
And I think she was there that night too, but I'm not sure. I remember her either being there or somewhere else, but it's a great picture, Bruce. Now, how did you get that? Did you just walk up and say, smile?
I was there doing something. I was at that event, and I happened to see them, and we were talking. And then on my way out, they were sitting there talking and laughing and giggling. They said, and I just said, lady, let me take a picture. And they just turned and they were talking a little trash. And I said, well, just go ahead and keep on talking. And I just took the picture and I hugged them all and then I left.
It does look very impromptu
Oh
to
yeah,
me.
yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Wait a minute, before we move on, any of these other photographers here have any comments on this photo?
I have a comment. I just,
Yes.
I'm a late bloomer. I didn't start listening to the music till about 96. I didn't start photographing it until maybe a couple of years after that. I just wish I had the opportunity to be with Bruce
Mm.
in the early 80s when all these people, and I came in at a time a lot, like I had the chance to meet Cousin Mary and my goodness, he just said
Trudy?
the name,
Trudy,
Trudy
Yeah.
Pitts.
Shirley.
You know what I mean? And Monette, of course. But just wanting to be there, I think about that all the time. Like, and especially when you told me you was bringing Bruce on, and he has a history of being out there doing it. You know, I just wish I was there with him to like really be around these people.
Well, you're all different generations in a sense. So, and that's how you cover the scene. You have the old heads like Bruce and myself
And Les.
covering. What? What did
Man,
you
you know you
say,
was
Ed?
born in 1947. Stop playing.
Oh God. All right. Well, let's go to the next one there, Lex. Oh, this is
Oh,
beautiful.
JB.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is my boy. And again, he's a friend. I mean, he gave my son violin lessons. You know, geez, gosh, John is a beautiful person, a masterful musician, a very expressive, a woman who I call my sister. I met through him, Regina Carter.
Oh yeah.
My goodness, I mean, and then he got his son kicking butt right now itself. So John Blake is a friend who is duly missed. He
He
really
would.
is.
Yeah, he is. He's a sweetheart. Now, now, do you remember where you took this?
Please. That's what I'm saying. I mean, you and Kim have a better idea.
Oh,
I really, again, I've photographed John so much in so many different venues and in a variety. I mean, small venues and large festivals. I have no background. I have no point of reference here. And
right.
see, where I'm at a disadvantage is that the Blackson has all my negatives or most of them. So I couldn't
that's
even go back and refer. I just look at what I have on the computer.
right.
So I don't have any point of reference with this.
Well, let me ask you this, Bruce. I mean, how did you decide what events to go to? By word of mouth, or you just see it in the paper and then you go, or?
Well, yes. For basically, photography is my art, and I never really pursued it as a vocation. So I always worked and had a job, and then went to did the photography. And at this point in time, Philly was hot. I mean, you had 2 or 3 jazz festivals a year: Pico, Mellon,
Right.
Rittenhouse Square. You had all places all over, and then you had the clubs. The Keswick. You had you had the Blue Note for jam sessions and Ortlieb's. You had a Zanzibar. You just had so many different places, and every night I could go somewhere differently.
Okay.
And after a point in time, everybody knows you. So it's no hassle getting in. I'm just coming in to take pictures. And even though I had a press pass, I had a press pass and hardly even used it. I mean, people just know, come on, okay, come on. Because I would usually try to get to places to do the sound check. I was trying to develop a portfolio of sound checks, because that's when they interact and they improvise a lot, and they change things, and it's a whole different scenario than the concert itself. So I have no idea when I took this of John. It's one of my favorite ones of him, though.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's you just caught him right in an emotional moment. And it's, I don't know, Anthony, what do you think of this shot?
For Jazz Briz Calendar, I once shot John at a violin shop,
Uh-huh.
and he was very nice. I only met him one time, and I never seen him play except that day I was doing a photo shoot.
Oh, I remember that. I sent you out there for that shot.
Yeah, it was
That's-
the David Mitchie violins. So we used the whole shop to make do a whole shoot.
That's
That's
right.
amazing.
This photo right here is that's what I interpreted at a different date.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he's another person I miss. All right, let's move on for a minute. And Bruce, if you want to comment on any of the pictures you're going to be seeing, feel free to go ahead.
Okay.
All right, next one on tap is Anthony. Gee, I wonder who this guy is.
Yeah, who is that? So this is Jimmy Heath. So I photographed this at Temple University. It was the big band with Terrell Stafford led them, and of course Jimmy was there. And I always try to find the angle where there's not too much in the picture too much. So for the whole evening, I'm trying to find the angle, and I got it right here. I do some editing to it, but the light was right, even to like you can see the shadow on his vein, how much he's concentrating.
I know, and the glasses too. Yeah, the vein.
glasses.
Wow.
Yeah, it's one of the rare pictures that I have of any musicians that were like in the 50s and 60s, because I'm not that old, and
Yes, you are.
I didn't start going out. No, seriously, like I didn't start going out to listen to music till like 98. And I started taking pictures maybe 5 years later. So and the Ortley was almost closed by then.
Wow.
Or they stopped having jazz. So I missed all that. I got some pictures, when I was still using Flash and just trying to show that I was there. And then when I started getting creative, that's when they closed down. So I missed a lot of that stuff.
Well, what kind of camera did you take this picture with? Because it really looks intimate. And how close were you? I guess you weren't.
You know what camera took that picture?
What?
My right eye. I just used the camera to record it. That's it. It doesn't matter really what camera it is, but
It doesn't.
probably use a long lens on here to get close. Because I'm not on stage with it. So.
Well, it's gorgeous. It really is.
It is
Absolutely. It's
And
absolutely
I
gorgeous.
only seen him one other time, and it was when he was at the Kimmel Center with the Philadelphia Jazz Band with Larry McKenna and Boosie Barnes. He performed with them. That was a nice show, also.
Now,
He's a beautiful brother.
yeah. Now, Les, do you have any comments on this
I
particular
was
picture?
just going to say this particular picture that Anthony took, it just reminds me of Solitude. Not the song, but like him just actually by himself, maybe even doing,
You got caught him in a practice room.
just him. Maybe nobody else is around, and Ant just like caught that.
Yeah, it does.
You know?
Yeah, that's interesting. I do want to remind everybody who's our viewers tonight that we will be doing Q&As at the end of this. So get your questions ready for any of these marvelous gentlemen.
Especially
right,
the other two.
Because you're not marvelous.
Yeah. Kim said, Anthony, behave yourself. All right. Let's see the second one there, Lex. Oh.
Look at this. Look at
All right,
this.
so
Love that.
so this is Rob Henderson. Everybody knows Rob.
No doubt.
He gives everyone gigs. He pays them out of his own pocket. And the reason why I submitted this picture because, we always get pictures of people playing. A lot of times you miss stuff when they're not playing. And a lot of times, I'm going to bring him out. Rob drops his sticks.
Uh-huh.
So I just wanted to, when I caught him on this picture, I just wanted to catch him messing with his stick because I'm always teasing him about dropping him during the performance. But you never know he dropped them because he's still swinging. And you would never know that he dropped the stick and somehow went and go pick up another one. This was taken at the Candlelight in Trenton.
Okay.
And they have Saturday matinees every week for like, what, 30 years now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great shot, man. I like this.
And I really like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looks
The
like
blurred
he's got,
background.
yeah. It
Yeah,
looks,
but very
it's
narrow
amazing.
depth of field in this one.
Yeah. It's amazing he doesn't have a cigar with him. Usually you take a picture with a cigar, but
You can even see he's sweating there.
He always sweating.
yeah.
He is, you know.
Yeah, that's Rob.
Oh,
But
wow.
yeah, you know,
That's a great shot.
Yeah.
Rob, I started out like I started playing saxophone also, because I went to a friend of mine went to Orleans on a Tuesday, and he told me, he goes, man, you'll like this club. So Thursday I went, and then Saturday I rented a sax. So I used to go to Rob's house and play around my sax while he played his trumpet. He had a flugel trumpet. So I was always hanging over there, you know, just doing whatever. So, but yeah, Rob, you know, he's jazz. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That man need to fix my brakes on my car.
That's right. He's a car mechanic.
Yeah.
Very good. He's very good too.
I know he's done a lot of work for jazz musicians who didn't have enough money to go to somebody else.
Yeah.
So he's been very sweet. Yeah. Yeah. So Rob Henderson, what do you like about this particular picture, Les?
That's my brother right there. I mean, when Rob was holding the Sunday sessions at La Rose, it was just Kim Tucker, another brother named Steve, and Rob, the bass player, and the drummer. 6 people there, just us for a long time. Rob always let me come and photograph, and I knew him before that from like different jazz festivals. Rob is a genuine, down-to-earth guy. The photo is indicative. If you just look at the photo and you know Rob, that's him. Genuine.
Yeah, I first met him at a jam session up on Stenton Avenue. I'm trying to.
Charlie B's.
No. Eddie Green and Tyrone used to play there, and Jim Miller, and Rob was always there at the table.
You're not talking
right
about
in
the Blue
front.
Note, are you?
Not the Blue Note. Damn, I can't think of the
Slim
name.
Coopers.
Slim Coopers.
Huh?
Slim
Huh?
Coopers.
Slim
Kim said
Coopers.
Slim.
That's
Oh,
it,
okay.
Slim Coopers. And that's where I first met
Thanks,
him. So, yeah, you're helping out. Kim's helping us out with a lot of stuff here.
Kim knows more than all of us.
So, all right, let's see the next one. Oh, I love
BB.
I love this.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's
Here's
a
another
nice
one.
shot.
You ain't even got to say nothing about him, man.
Just a non-playing photo that I caught. This was at Morning Star Studios for a recording session with Bootsy and Larry,
Yeah.
and then Byron on drums and Lucas Brown on organ.
His last recording.
Yeah, it was a nice recording.
Wow.
So right here, he's just, not playing, but no, let me see what's up with this reed.
He's always adjusting his reed.
Yeah, he used to have, when I first
Between
started going
him
to
adjusting his reed, and when you shake his hand, he would just grab 2 fingers or something like that. Like, wait a minute, Bootsy.
Now, what I like when I saw this picture the other day, when you sent it to me, what really grabbed me the most was the intensity of his face.
Oh yeah.
Is the concentration that you captured. I mean, it really. In fact, it captures Bootsy in a way that not a lot of people have seen him like this. You know?
He was always focused with the music, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But did he know you were taking his picture when you took it?
Yeah, I was all around that studio,
Oh,
but
okay.
I was stealth. I was stealth though.
Oh.
I was going to say they smelt you, but
Oh, nah, cause like I really like doing studio sessions. Cause when I hear music now, like a lot of stuff I like from the 50s, 60s. I wish there was more studio photographs. Francis Wolff caught a lot of stuff, but I
yeah,
wish there was more studio video. Like I never saw Hank Mobley actually playing,
Mm.
only pictures.
Yeah.
So I like the studio stuff, and like I did one session with someone else, and I knocked something over
oh man,
No.
while they were recording, but
No.
it didn't show up. So you gotta be careful there.
So Bruce, what do you like about this photo?
Everything. I mean, it's a moment. It says something about the person. My objective with pictures is capturing a moment when the artist, the instrument, and the environment are one.
Oh.
And this fulfills that.
yeah.
Certainly does.
He's with his environment. He doesn't care about nothing else but what he's doing right there. Even though I know Brucey, he's very much aware of what's going on around him too.
Mm.
So it's a beautiful picture. All these pictures are beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't, these guys, Les and Anthony are masterful in
You
what
know
they
what else
do.
it is too, Bruce? A lot of this stuff is like and I said this before. I remember the interview I did for our jazz show at the Kimmel Center. If we didn't do what we do, a lot of stuff would never be seen.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like I was amazed when I saw a picture of Coltrane playing the alto. Someone took that picture. You know,
Right.
someone could have said, "No, you're not allowed in here. No
Yeah.
cameras. No."
And I was just thinking about that when I was getting ready for this because it's certain things or certain shots that I wish I had got. I was at Ortlieb's the night that Lee Morgan's brother gave Dwayne Eubanks a whole lot of Lee Morgan's charts and
Oh.
missed that shot because I was so like enamored watching him give it to him.
Right.
And then another shot at Ortlieb's, Orrin Evans was sitting behind the drums with one of his sons on his lap, and the son had the sticks in his hand. So those type of things, like Ant was saying, you capture them, and Mike Boone said to me, you capture them for perpetuity. It's there for a lifetime, so other people can have the opportunity to see it.
Plus, the way hearing you guys talk, it seems like there's an awful lot of improvisation involved, not just in the jazz, but in taking images of what's happening on and off the stage. Is very improvisational. Would you agree with that, or?
I agree
Well,
with
for me, it's like when I used to break dance, and it sounds corny, but when I would go down, I really never heard the music until I got back up.
Oh.
Sometimes you're such in the zone of taking pictures, you don't even know what the solo is playing. You're trying to get that image. And then when you put the camera down, everyone's clapping and think they're clapping at you, but no, they're clapping at the band.
Because you've been working so hard getting the shot.
Sweating.
Les, what were you going to say?
I was going to say it is kind of improvisational because I know when I shoot, I consider myself a sniper. So, and meaning that I don't have my camera on continuous.
Oh, you don't. All right.
So I'm trying to catch that moment that is almost ever changing because you're looking at expressions change. You're looking at sometimes you got musicians who almost contort. Saxophonists going up and down, drummers going crazy, bass players, so you're actually trying to catch that moment. And like Bruce said earlier, what Miles said, but even the other musicians said, like, music once it's played is going forever.
Right.
So it's the same thing with trying to capture a shot or a photograph of a musician. Once you miss that click, it's gone.
One of the things that most I would I would dare speak for most jazz musicians, you have to kind of anticipate
Exactly.
where they're going, and it takes a lot of time to do that. You know, when I go shoot a concert now, all I care about now is the lighting, because once I have the camera up, I'm so attuned to that musician and the cues that they're using that I feel as though I'm part of the band. So once the composition, especially with digital, with film, it's a whole different kind of perspective. But with digital, you don't have to worry about a lot of stuff. You can just kind of go for it, even though I still shoot manually. I've always shot manually.
Oh,
I don't know. For some reason.
You have to.
Yeah, you kind of got. I feel much more comfortable shooting manually than I do on any other modes. And half the time, I don't even use autofocus. You know, it depends on the movement of what's going on. But most of the time, I don't use autofocus, especially if I've shot this artist before.
okay.
Once I've shot an artist once or twice, I kind of know what they're going to do.
Right.
So I can kind of anticipate where they're going and be there when they get there. So, and then take the picture. It's hard to explain other than saying, when I was in school, I happened to meet Ansel Adams and
No kidding.
studied with him in Yosemite. He introduced me to Bill Graham. And between the two of them, it's kind of a symbiotic perspective with photography. Ansel was very technical and dealt with the zone system and things of that nature. And Bill said, just go to hell, just take the picture. We'll work it out later. So in between that, you got, especially with jazz, you can, you know, it's all improvised. So if you're in tune with the artist, it's very easy. And what's amazing is all the concerts I've done, people ask, well, how'd you enjoy the concert? I don't know. It was okay. You know, you don't want to say, but you're not really listening to the music. You hear it, but you're not listening to appreciate it. You're listening to that moment that you're looking for.
Right. Wow, that's great. That I have a million questions, which I'm going to still have time for the Q&A. So, Lex, let's go on to Les's photos. All right, you were talking about. Go ahead, Les.
That's my real little brother right there. Bruce had a picture of his father. I've been knowing the Blakes for over 30 years.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Sisters, brothers, aunts, and uncles. This was at the Temple's Underground, and he was there with his trio. And I ain't got nothing but love for that guy. That's my little brother for real. And once again, Jonathan Blake is one of those cats that will give you expression, like his dad.
Mm.
You know, every note that he plays on the drums is a note filled with expression. And that was just one of the shots I chose of him at that particular concert.
Nice
I
shot.
like the Eagles hat after.
Yeah.
I was going to answer that. Take that Eagles hat off.
No, don't even try that. Don't even try that. Don't tell me
No,
you're a
but I was
Cowboys
gonna-
fan.
I was going to add what Les was saying, like, to some people, and I've had discussions with this, is you can have an unknown musician, like maybe a college student in high school, and they're sweating and putting everything they can into that horn. And you look at that picture and you're like, wow, look at that. And then you have somebody who's very famous standing there like this. And a lot of people will take a liking to the most famous photo. But that's why a lot of stuff I don't like putting who it is on there, because it doesn't matter. It matters, but it doesn't matter who it is. If you're visually looking at the picture, it doesn't matter who it is. Like right now, you could not know that's Jonathan Blake, but look at his face, and he's very intense.
Yeah.
He's an intense player.
Right.
You can see that. You don't have to go, oh, that's who that is. You don't have to do that.
Wow. Les, that's a great photo. Do you remember what he was playing when you took that? I guess you don't.
Once again, like Bruce and Ed said, when you concentrating on a musician, sometimes you don't even hear music. You're focusing on trying to get that moment, trying to capture that one image, if you will.
Like,
and actually, you're trying to capture the feeling, because everybody takes pictures.
Right.
The advent of the cell phone is like blowing our craft out of the water. You know what I mean? Because everybody has a cell phone, but everybody is not interested in capturing emotion and feeling.
Right.
Majority of people are just interested in trying to get a picture.
Right.
Bruce, Ant, and myself, we're trying to capture that emotion and that feeling of the musician.
We're like our own band. So the piano player has to listen to the bass player, has to listen to the drummer, has to listen to they all have to listen to each other. We're alone. We don't have to listen to anyone except ourselves. So that's it. We're on one-man band.
At a certain point, you're expressing your own feelings through the picture. How I feel at a particular moment is expressed for, the whole concept for me is pre-visualization. I have an idea of what I want the picture to look like before I take it. So I guess within that process is how I feel before I come up with the image before I take it.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to say with, say, a mountain. Okay, well, I'm gonna wait till the sun is at this particular point, the shadows are here. Well, in jazz, it happens so fast. That's the beauty of it. And that's one of the things I like about digital. I could take 40 pictures in 20 seconds, and each one of them captures a moment.
Right.
Depending on the musician and the environment and what have you. That's, photography is a fascinating, and especially for me, still, it's not video. It's more still, because I'm looking at it. So I'm seeing the video, I'm seeing what they're doing, okay. But it's just one little isolated moment within that whole montage is
1/30th of a second.
Well, it's like going back to Miles. Miles used to say less is more. Instead of having a whole
less is more.
Yeah. So
I thought that was Rob Henderson.
Well, everybody copies Miles, just like he used to copy everybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's see the next one there, Lex.
Dean.
What could I say? I call him my musical father because I took lessons from him. And this particular shot, is the saxophone, so you have to hold it. You have to have a certain amount of dexterity with your fingers. But to me, the intensity that you see in his arms,
yes,
his facial expression, the what can you say, like the power that he has actually blowing through the instrument. He would always tell me you have to sing through your instrument.
Now, where was this taken, Les?
This was taken at a Jazz Bridge event. I forgot the name of the park down South Philly. You were there, Sue.
Oh, Hawthorne Park.
Yeah, it was him, Lee Smith, Craig MacGyver, and Tom Lawton.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Odine Pope.
Wow.
You spoke of the power. You spoke of the power of him through his horn. I remember a lot of times seeing him, Max, and Tyrone. All of them are powerful, powerful musicians. And Tyrone would hold them two together. It was amazing.
Oh yeah.
It was amazing how these guys, they were like brothers on stage. They really were. And yeah, Odin is a fascinating guy. Him and I mean his wife is beautiful too. So, you know, they all.
Yeah.
You know what I was going to say though. A lot of time on the previous one, when a lot of things in Philly, there are a lot of family musicians. You know, you got the Eubanks, you got the the Blakes, a whole bunch of the Heath brothers. It was always a whole group. It was a family that permeated the music throughout the city in one way or the other. And it still seems to be apropos here now in the newer generation.
Yeah. Now, Les, I wanted to ask you about the temperature of this photo. That's the only way I can put it. It seems like there's a lot of gray in it. It looks like it's a cooler photo than a hot photo. Does that make any sense?
I guess it can, because I actually had to take a picture of that picture.
Okay.
Oh, really?
You use a 60th of a shutter.
You're actually looking at, because when you were asking for photos, I was like, I don't know if you can see behind me, but I enlarged a lot of my photos and put them on canvas. And
right.
Right there. Then I got Jonathan Blake over there. Then my last photo, which you're going to show later. And instead of going through my files, I just took my camera and took pictures of the pictures. That's why they kind of that glare on it.
That's why we got that shutter thing going on at the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since you mentioned it, we'll talk about it. You know.
Thank you.
We caught you, Les.
Yeah. Thanks for being honest, Les.
Yeah. All right, let's see the next one. Oh, I love this.
I took a picture of that. That's the ceiling light coming down. But this picture right here, I have it hanging in my basement. And every time I look at it, I get chills.
Now, who is it?
Robbie Coltrane. I met him that particular day. This was a tribute to Cousin Mary at the Clef Club.
Oh, okay.
And when he played, it was like, this was my first time seeing him play. It was like every Coltrane record I ever heard in my life, because he embodied the spirit of his dad when he played this particular song. And I cannot think of the song now. But watching him, I just got chills. And I don't even know how I got this particular picture. But when I looked on the back of my camera, I just said, this is it. This is it. The way it's framed, the way the light, the shadow kind of engulfed him, the way his finger is pointing up as if to say, Dad. You know, I was like, yo, I should sell this one here. It's everything to me. And I had to get it enlarged.
Y'all know he takes pictures also.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, oh.
Yeah. He's a budding photographer.
Wow.
Yeah, so was Eddie Green. Eddie Green loved to take pictures. Huh?
Bring him in the next Zoom.
One of these days I will.
You really had to pay him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Robbie, and I met him. He was cool.
Oh, yeah.
Plays with him and Jonathan Blake, plays together a lot. And he looked just like his pop. Crazy.
Yeah.
Now, have you guys ever met any musician who said, don't take my picture?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. I had met McCoy. Actually, I didn't meet him, but it was John Blake's funeral. And McCoy Tyner was walking up. So I'm out there just shooting free.
Right.
He sees me point my camera at him. He's like, "No, don't take my picture."
Oh,
Man, really? I got him anyway, but.
Yeah, see, that's what people don't know. They tell us not to take it, but we're going to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I had shot a whole show, and someone contacted me like 2 days later. and say, "Yo, what's your phone number?" I thought they were going to ask, give me some of the images. Who told you to take my pictures? I want you to take the pictures down.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, because
I
I
got-
didn't ask.
That's terrible.
You get stories over the years, no question.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. Oh geez. All right. Well, now it's time for the Q&A. I hope everybody's ready. So let me put my glasses back on.
Look at all these people. My goodness.
Can I give a shout out?
All right.
Can I give a
Now
shout out?
let's- Huh?
Can I give a shout out?
Sure.
No.
Who are you shouting out to?
Ellen Rosenberg, Vera Savachuk, Brian Sanders, Bruce K. Woods, Ken Weiss, David Huskine, Brian Collier, Edward Braceford, Tim Cohn, and David Dubitsky. We got selected, but these people do it too.
I
They
know.
take amazing jazz shots.
I definitely want, that's why I said some of the best, because there are some terrific photographers in town. And oh, there's Ellen from New Orleans.
I have a whole, I must have 2,000 or 3,000 unknown musicians. Because at my first, I don't know how many years, I would just go for the headline. I go there, take the picture of the headliner and leave. Until I saw Miles with Ron Carter and all them guys. It's like, well, wait a minute, I should take the pictures of these guys too.
Yeah.
Live and learn.
And I'm with y'all, the both of y'all too, because Bruce had mentioned earlier about the sound check. That's when you really get the interaction of the musicians. I love being there. And I mean, they're going to eventually go back and change, and their clothes are different and everything, but that interaction, like looking at the music, the sheets of music and things like that, talking amongst themselves. I mean, you really get that.
Oh yeah.
Conversations.
Let me address Francis real quick. Francie, this will be available in about a week on our YouTube channel, and it'll also be shown on channel 64. So, all right. Well, let me ask you, since no questions have started yet, we've got about 6 minutes to go. What are you guys doing now? Let me start out with Bruce. Bruce, what are you working on?
I'm just doing the Bloxon collection, basically. I still do my own, when I walk around and take pictures and do my artwork with, architectural stuff and nature and things of that sort. But in terms of jazz, well, actually, I was out at Longwood. I did a couple of concerts at Longwood, so I'll probably be out there a couple times a year. I still, try to catch the Clifford Brown Festival, but I've really cut back, since COVID. COVID, was really quite debilitating. But interestingly enough, I was tired of being in crowds. So, and then COVID, it's hard to explain, but after 40 years, it's my goodness, I needed a break, and COVID provided that. But now I'm paranoid about being in crowds.
You and me both, How about you, Anthony? What are you doing these days?
Delivering mail.
What?
I'm delivering mail every day.
Oh yeah, that's right. We have 2 mailmen that are also great photographers.
Oh, so I try to get out and shoot jazz, but because, like Bruce said, COVID. Well, with my job, when everyone's in the house and started ordering everything, my job hours started getting ridiculous. So it was hard for me to get out. So I started making stuff when I can now. But I'm starting something that's not jazz. I'm starting a project on beards, men's beards.
Really?
Yeah, just different beards, different styles.
Like Brady, Sanford and Sons, so that's a good project.
Sanford.
That's my next project.
No, that sounds good. I know. What's his name? Richard Timbers does something where he asks people. With the chairs. He asked me to do it. I haven't done it yet.
I also have the red umbrella. A lot of people know about the red umbrella.
Oh, that's right. You do the red umbrella. When am I going to
Yeah.
do the red umbrella?
Oh, when you see me, I always have it with me.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
All right, Les, what are you doing these days?
Working.
Uh,
I got the 5 o'clock in the morning blues, so I'm like Joe Williams. I'm evil, tired, and when 4:30 come and I know it's a show I want to go to, I'm debating on am I going to shower now or shower when I come back in, or going to go, or if I go, am I going to stay? And you know,
If you
working.
don't shower, you ain't staying.
That's right.
I know what to ask you next time I see you at a concert.
That's right.
Oh my good. All right.
Go left. But I try to get out. I mean, I cover like Leo has the second Fridays, and my man Mark Chrisman just opened up Solar Myth.
Right, new club.
Yeah, so I've got there once. So I'm trying to get back out, but it's just the fact I'm up at 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
So once I get home, and sometimes I like when stuff start early so I don't have to come home.
Right.
Let's make the pit stop is over. Yeah.
All right. Well, let me move on. You guys have all been great. I mean, this has been a wonderful little get together. And Lex, let's put up the next thing. I think it's. I wonder who took this picture.
I need you and Diane to sign my book.
That's Mosley, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. But I just wanted to let everybody know there is a book of photographs that myself and Diane Turner at the Bloxon Collection put together. It took us about a year and 3 months. And a lot of the pictures in the book are by Robert Mosley and, of course, Bruce Turner. We have some by Les. Anthony, I don't know. I asked Anthony for some pictures, and he's going to have to be in our next collection because this is kind of like the older jazz folks. And so we still have to do another volume for the younger people. So Anthony, and Les, I'll get you guys in more for the next one. And Bruce.
I'm in there.
It's in there. This is the older version.
What?
It's in there.
I'm in there. I did Rufus
I know
Hart.
you are. No, I know you are. I know you. You've got a couple in there. Yeah. So it's a great book. So I just wanted to let everybody know that all the proceeds from the book, Diane and I did it for nothing because it's near and dear to our heart. And all the proceeds from the book go to support the archive and help us get it done, and continue our work with it. You can get this on Amazon. So next slide, Lex, if you would. Okay, now here are some places you can go to look at more photographs by Les and Anthony, which I will send to everybody, these links to everybody after this whole thing is done. I'll send them off tomorrow to all the people who came tonight. And so you can go and look at the pictures, maybe buy or purchase one. Now, Bruce, are you going to have one of these sites set up soon, or?
I had one, and my wife is a systems analyst, so she builds the websites and all that stuff. I don't know. We'll see. But if anybody wants to see any of my pictures,
There are Bloxon.
you can go to the Bloxon,
Yeah.
or when you go to the Clef Club in the main auditorium, probably 75 to 80% of those pictures are mine, the big ones.
Yeah.
So,
And I got the little ones on the 3rd floor.
right, I got a couple up there too. Don't even try it.
So, and of course, this last is the PhillyJazzHistory.org is our website. So please go there and, and check it out. Check out what we're doing. All right, next tile. Okay. This is my last pitch. Your tax deductible donation will help the community build the Philadelphia Jazz Archive for everyone to enjoy. And I hope you all go. I bet you some of you guys took some of these photos here.
That's a nice shot of Tyrone.
Yeah. That was I know who did that, and I can't think of her name. But anyway, please check it out and make a donation. $5, $10, $1,000 would be nice. So anyway, thanks for coming tonight. And for anybody who didn't get to see this or their audio was turned off, it will be on our website, in our YouTube website, at the end of the week. So thanks again, all you guys. L. David Hinton, Bruce Turner, Anthony Dean. Thank you so much.